everyone, welcome to UnMasked, the podcast where we talk about depression, anxiety, and all things mental health. We're here today with my really funny co-host, the backbone of this podcast, the one that keeps me in check, Hannah. Hannah, how you doing?
The fact that you really had to think about that was probably the most beautiful thing I think I've ever witnessed in my life. Thank you for that intro.
You are quite welcome.
Oh, man. Okay.
So, today we're going to be talking about depression and relationships and how they coexist, how one partner can support the other, and our various experiences there, and what we've learned throughout this process.
Let's go. Brody.
Yeah.
Let's start with you.
Oh, let's
dive in. Yeah, let's dive in deep, brother. Well, I mean, considering you are the only one who's in a successful relationship here, I mean, you're married. I was there at the wedding, and I was also there whenever you guys birthed me. But obviously, how you yourself struggle with depression and anxiety. So how do you typically, or how did you manage that? Or did you manage that at the beginning of your relationship, and how did Chloe help you?
That's a really interesting question. So, I mean, going back even prior to Chloe, I used to pick relationships where I could actually kind of hide, my depression, because I was with people that were, obviously had their own mental health issues. So, one of my exes, for instance, was, bipolar, manic depressant. So I used to be able to, kind of deflect working on my own stuff by trying to help somebody else. And that is a recipe for disaster. And
would you say that you masked it?
Don't quite know how to respond to that.
I'm sorry.
But no, it's I went through a really long time. I always knew that I had depression. There was something off. Since I was a kid, and I wasn't actually told that I had depression until I was 25, 26 years old when I went and saw a therapist for the first time. And she said, "You have depression." I was like, "Well, that's good to know." This kind of late in my life.
That kind of leads me into, I guess, a different question, and then we can kind of turn back to that. So then, finding out that you had depression, were you in a relationship whenever you found out?
I did, and the reason I went to a therapist was because I was in a relationship that was highly dysfunctional. And I'm like, I actually went there. I'm like, I just wanted to talk to somebody. And then after, I was like, what do I do? I'm with somebody that has serious control issues, serious trust issues. I don't know who else to turn to. My friends don't know shit. So I literally just went to, and it was through the company I was working for at the time. I just went and saw a therapist just because I was stressed and wanted to get it out there. And we kind of delved into my childhood and then, my early adult years. And she just said, "Well, fuck Brody, you've been through some shit. And I think that you have depression." I was like, "Well, would explain a lot." I didn't know what it was. So it was kind of an eye-opening moment for me. It kind of put a lot of things into perspective, because even prior to that particular relationship, I picked other relationships where people were very similar. The girls were very similar. They all had similar types of issues, similar types of behaviors. And I always came in thinking, okay, I'm not happy with, myself, or, I feel off for whatever reason, but I can actually help this person fix themselves.
He's a fixer.
I was a fixer. Because I couldn't deal with my own shit. And I know that's a common problem with a lot of people.
Right.
Especially a lot of my friends, they get into these situations, these relationships where they think, I can fix this person. And I think that's kind of,
there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you can't fix somebody. You can help people. You can help them, with what they're going through. You help them get the support that they need, but you can't go into a relationship with somebody that's got depression or anxiety and go, man, I'm going to fucking fix this, because it doesn't work.
No, and you can only do so much to help someone. If you're not helping them even at that point, then it's like, okay, then seek professional help.
Exactly.
Because like we've talked about this before, but I think everybody needs to go to therapy. It's a thing. It truly is a thing that will and would benefit every single human being on this earth. Just because I feel like everybody's life goal at the end of the day is to be happy and stress-free.
But that, you bring up an important point, though, because this is one of the things that it was a sort of a point of contention between me and Chloe for a long time, because she didn't understand my depression. Her fix for every time I was feeling down, or like, I'm feeling shitty or whatever, it's like, go talk to a therapist. Like, that was that was the solution to everything. It wasn't like hey, how can I help you like feel better, or like get back on your feet, or like, just anything that's kind of more contributes to like positive mental well-being. Like, the one thing that people like me hate is like when we're having like say a shitty day, we're having a down day, it's like, go talk to somebody. Sometimes that works, but like other times it's simple things like, hey, let's go get some fucking food, let's go to the gym, let's go buy a duck.
Well, there's also a difference between having severe depression and anxiety than just having a shit day. So if you're having like a shitty mental day and you do suffer from depression and anxiety, then things like that, like going to get ice cream, going to a drive to the beach, things like that help. And doing it with your partner can help tremendously more, because you're doing it with somebody that you love and you care about. Yeah. However, if you're just having a shitty day, which it happens to the best of us, then I don't necessarily think like one shitty day is a recipe to like go talk to someone. So do you think that that's what you were doing in the beginning of your relationship? Is that kind of what you were saying?
It was kind of a bit of both. Like, it was a combination of, obviously moving to LA, starting a whole bunch of businesses on my own, having that uncertainty, not knowing that many people here, and obviously the toxic environment that LA is. All these factors just kind of weigh on you. And it did get to a point where like I couldn't function. It's like I didn't want to get up in the morning. I didn't want to work on this. I didn't want to work on that. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, the only thing that I did was, get up at noon, move to the couch, play some video games, watch TV. That's like obviously not ideal for anybody. It's not ideal for a relationship either. Right.
That's a recipe for failure in a relationship, I feel like.
Yeah.
But you picked up.
Yeah, I picked up. So,
and look at you now. You guys are married. So it really worked out in your favor.
I mean, it also, like, it took me having to explain that whenever I, am going through like bouts of depression, it's not like as simple as I need to go talk to somebody, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. It's like more so just her just being supportive and understand, like, there are certain things that do trigger me to go into spirals. Like it could be business related, like, something didn't work out, or like obviously the whole toxic environment thing with LA, like, that got to me after a while. But it was me sitting down and communicating with her one day, like, this is what I go through. This is my thought process when I am feeling shitty. And these are the things that work. These are the things that don't. Like, you hammering me, telling me, go to therapy, or, go speak to somebody, or whatever it might be. Like, that is not productive.
Right. And communication is key in every single relationship. So the fact that you were able to open up and tell her, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what doesn't help, and this is what does typically help. Because I feel like in any relationship, if anybody's struggling with depression and anxiety, speaking up about it and being open to the communication about it is like key.
That's an important thing for a partner to understand when they are with somebody that does have anxiety or does have depression, is that it doesn't go away. Like, you manage it. you have good days, you have shitty days. But if you're coming into a relationship, or you're in a relationship, you discover someone has depression, like, you're not going to be able to fix it.
Right.
It's not something that you're just going to go, well, if the relationship's great, he's always going to be fucking happy. It doesn't work like that.
This also kind of leads me into a kind of another topic of conversation within the same realm. But have you ever read the book Attached?
No, I have not.
It is a book that talks about different attachment styles in relationships. So I believe there's 4 different attachment styles. And whenever this book came out, there were 3. So the 3 that I'm aware of. Okay, so there are 4 different attachment styles, and they are secure, anxious, avoidant, and fearful avoidant. So within reading that book, I'm still reading it, so I'm not 100% sure what my attachment style is, but I feel like it has a little bit of anxious, avoidant, kind of a mix of the two, but we're working on it and we're figuring it out. However, in the book, it talks about how the attachment styles can stem from your childhood. So, that being said, what attachment style do you think you might be?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I've had a similar conversation with my therapist, the one that first diagnosed me with depression.
Incredible.
And when we were talking about my upbringing, the stories about my mom. Like, we didn't have a good relationship. Like, she was kind of toxic, kind of shitty.
Right.
But I've taken that into my relationships, where I've been the opposite. I've been the person trying to fix somebody, or trying to, the protector. And it's come back to bite me in the ass so many fucking times. I don't know quite which one of those 4 that fits into.
God, I don't even know. We might have to take the attachment style quiz and find out what our attachment styles are and put it in the next segment.
Yeah, I'll put it on Instagram.
Yeah, or we'll add it at the end of this segment.
Let's take one of my previous relationships. I was with this girl for a couple of years. She was severe bipolar, manic depressant, on and off of lithium.
Oh, wow.
And I got stuck in this cycle with her, because I didn't want to be with her, but every time I tried to leave, it was, I'm going to kill myself, or I'm going to hurt myself, or I'm not even kidding.
Oh my God, no, this is so crazy that you're saying this, because I just rewatched the movie Men yesterday. And within that movie, spoiler alert, the husband of the lead character, she was trying to divorce him. And he looked at her and he said, well, then I'm going to kill myself. And she said, you can't do that. You can't say that. So the fact that she was coming back to you and being like, oh, well, if you do this, let me manipulate the fuck out of you and tell you I'm going to kill myself. Because that's also, suicide is a very, 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 very hard thing for anybody to go through.
Yeah.
And for somebody to even threaten that, it's like, come on now. Don't do that. Yeah. Anything can change in the blink of an eye.
Well, it even got to the point where I'd left her, and then I was on a flight. I had literally been on a plane for 14 hours, arrived in LA, and there was voicemails saying, I'm going to kill myself. I've taken a bunch of pills. And I'm just like, I've just literally landed. What the fuck is going on? I've had calls from her mom and her friends saying, she's in the hospital. She just, whatever the hell she did. It was just it was all she and this went on for 12, 18 months. And even after, it got to a point where it was literally just costing me not just my mental health, but my physical health. It was phone calls all during the day. It was just crazy. Could not move on.
Well, right at that point, it becomes a harassment thing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. And the harassment went on for years, but those are completely different stories.
Well, no, but mental illness can make you do some pretty nutty things.
Yeah.
And it, like, for her, if she's manic and she's bipolar, then that's also something that is internal that she can't, or she doesn't know how to control.
Yeah. And that was kind of the final straw for me, though, is there was one incident where I literally had to wrestle a knife out of her hands. Right. And this went on for a long time, wrestled a knife out of her hands. And finally calmed her down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put you on a flight to go back and spend some time with your family. You know, like, you know, she'd been been away for a while. I'm like, whatever it costs, I don't care what it is. I'll send you back tomorrow, the next day, whenever you want to go. So she did that. And when she got there, because she had bruises on her wrists where I was trying to stop her from cutting herself, and instead of telling her family the truth about what happened, she told them that I was abusing her. And that was the turning point for me. It's like, I can't do this anymore because, you know, I've got your mom calling me saying, you know, why have you put your hands on my daughter? I'm like, did she not tell you what happened? I have witnesses. Like,
is that, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not a form of narcissism?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was the constant victim, no matter what she did. Even after we broke up, you know, I tried to do the right thing by her as a friend. You know, I was supporting her financially. I helped put her through culinary school. I did all these things, you know, just to try, because I still felt obligated because, like, you know, she was going through some shit. She's obviously not mentally well, but no one else is going to do it for her.
Well, and also your fixing complex probably had a lot to do with that too, because you're like, I can help. I can do this. I know, I see something in you that's not there for yourself. So, like, let me help you. But that's also not helpful to you. No,
it was fucking awful. And it still came back to bite me in the ass. Like, even years later, when up until our wedding day, you know, there was still the threats of, I'm going to show up and ruin your wedding. I'm like, we broke up years ago, like half a decade ago.
Man,
like,
was it in the beginning of that relationship? Was it very love bombing on her end?
Kind of, yeah. She had some childhood issues. Like, she didn't know who her dad was until I think she was like 17 or 18. I found out halfway into our relationship that, you know, she had also, you know, molested as a child. Like, all these things were coming up, and I'm just like, instead of the red flags going off, I'm just thinking, oh, well, shit, you know, I can help.
Well, I don't necessarily think that those would be considered red flags. I think that those are just considered trauma that somebody had gone through, which could also add to the mental things that she was going through, which, all in all, I mean, that doesn't help out your situation whenever you were in a relationship, but all is said and done. You've gone through it. It's over. It's done with. You're happily married now. However, during that time, it also probably heightened your anxiety and heightened your depression to the point where it was like deteriorating you and being like, okay, well, this is extremely hard to deal with. So how did she ever get the help that she needed?
Don't know.
Okay.
I honestly do not know. I mean, without going into details, I mean, she did harass Chloe's family and me for years after. Literally.
This.
Yeah. Literally years. I mean, she might have got the help, but, like, it got to a point where I'm like, okay, we're not together and you're no longer my friend. This is not a good situation for me to be in. No, you have to separate yourself from those situations because then it'll only continue to get worse a lot of the time. Yeah. And if it's not, sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say, I feel like if something is not bettering or adding to your life, then, let me rephrase that. If the person you are with or the people that you surround yourself with aren't adding something to your life, then why are you surrounding yourself with them? Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, it's something that I also learned in my career too, is like, you know, when you're adding, if something isn't adding value to your business, then why are you investing in it? And it's the same with relationships.
Exactly. And I mean, that doesn't, I'm not necessarily saying like material things. I'm more
No, not
saying
material.
like if,
I'm talking about
I know,
anything
I'm
in
just,
general. Yeah, yeah.
right. I'm just adding on to that. So like if they're not adding value into your life, like happiness, love, appreciation, things like that, why the fuck are you surrounding yourselves with them?
Yeah. Same could be said about friends too.
Well, exactly. Any relationship in your life.
Exactly. Like I've had situations where the friends around me were making me feel worse about myself. They weren't good for my mental health. They were just like, everything was negative. They weren't inspiring me. You and I are very similar, where we want to do great things. So we surround ourselves with great people. But there was a point in time where I just didn't do that. I don't know why I kind of lost my way with it, but I just had these people around me that were just kind of like happy with the status quo. They're unmotivated. They want the 9 to 5. They want to talk shit on our own friends. Yeah, and
Right.
not even like in a goofy kind of way, like
Not like roasting them. It's like
yeah,
actually talking
yeah,
shit.
it was actually like nasty shit, and that's not how things should be, and it definitely doesn't and it doesn't contribute to like positive mental well-being.
No, and I mean, like you said, you and I are very, very similar. Where I think, which I can attest to this because all of our friends we consider family.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you and Chloe have showed me that for years, but you really solidified it whenever I went to New Orleans for your wedding and we all went fucking buck wild. However,
yes, we did.
Being able to surround yourself with people who add value to your life and you're able to treat them like family is just, it's one of the most special feelings in the whole entire world because you get to create your own family.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no better way to put that.
Yeah.
And it's even with like some of my friends now, that I do consider family. Like when I think that they're crossing a line and they're like, they're bringing basically the energy down, I, rather than going away and, because it used to be a problem for me where like, I hear somebody talking shit and instead of saying something, I'll go away and I'll think about it and I'll go into like, and I'll spend like a whole day, 2 days thinking about, all the stuff that they've been saying rather than just going, hey, this isn't okay. Like, this has got to stop.
Right.
And confronting the problem there. So it's like, now it's, whenever we're around our friends, like everything is, even when some of my friends want to like say, talk shit on somebody else, I'm like, hey man, like that's not cool. Right. Like, if you want to do that, like you can go away and do that. But like, if you're going to be here, that's not what we're about.
Smart man. Smart man. Smart man.
But yeah, you had a bit of a run-in with a narcissist for a while, didn't you?
A little bit.
Yeah? Yeah.
A little bit.
Tell me that story.
Well, let's just look. I don't necessarily know if I would describe him as a narcissist, considering we've been through the ringer and now we're very, very good friends. Yeah. I think it was just a hard time because someone very close to him had passed away a few months prior to us dating. So I think that the trauma from that and the fact that him and his ex of, I think, 3 years had broken up not long before we had gotten together, the trauma of those two things mixed together definitely did not help our relationship at all. And I was also not in a place mentally where I should have been in a relationship, because that was, I'm not proud of the way that I acted in that relationship equally as much as he is not proud of the way that he acted. So I think it was a problem for both of us at the time. I acted like a crazy person, and I think the fact that the relationship was rocky from the beginning, the trust was never, ever there. And I come to find out he was also cheating on me with 3 other people while we were together. So
okay.
That was fun, but it's hard. It is hard whenever you're in a relationship with somebody who's going through it and you're also going through it, because neither of you know how to deal. and you're just kind of figuring things out day by day, but it's never a safe space. It always feels like you're walking on eggshells, and you still have that like loneliness around you in a sense. And then that relationship broke me to a point where I think it needed to, so that I could grow up a little bit more and be like, whoa, why the fuck were you acting like that? And being so in your head all the time whenever you don't need to be. Because I was overthinking every single detail every day.
So knowing that he was going through some trauma, he lost his friend, just broken up with his ex, prior to you finding out that he was cheating on you, like, how were you trying to support him, like dealing with his issues? Were you telling him to go to therapy? Were you just trying to talk to him?
I was just trying to talk to him, and because I also was a fixer, I was like, oh,
shocker.
I could be the one to fix this. I'll make all of this better. No, bitch. No, you can't. You can't make any of this better. You can't make it go away. Like, a therapist can. Probably, well, they can't make it go away, but they can help. But what am I going to, 21-year-old me is going to be, oh, okay. Like, it's okay. You got this. No. So I tried to just be there, and would always say, like, okay, if you need to talk about anything, I'm here. If you're going through it, we can talk about it. And he would always just kind of brush it off. So I think it was a lot of him going internally, me getting frustrated and not understanding why, and then me also going internally, and then the tension building up so much where we would explode on each other.
That sounds oddly familiar.
You been there?
Yeah, once or twice. I think did learn my lesson the first time, the second time, or the 11th time after. But hey, we got here eventually, right?
Clearly, we aren't professionals.
No. I mean, you think with the amount of experience that we've had, we'd actually, see some of these things coming. But no, I see a red flag. I'm like, oh, green light, let's go.
You live and you learn.
Yes, we do. So the moral of this little story is, for those of you that think that you can go into a relationship and fix somebody with depression or anxiety, you're fooling yourself. You can help them. You can support them. You can definitely make their lives so much better, but you can't go in there and say, fuck me, I'm going to put this all back together and everything's going to be perfect. Because even now, like, I have a fucking good life. Great relationship with my wife. Like, she's awesome. Great friends, great co-host. But I have shitty days where, like, and to be honest, sometimes I don't even know what triggers it. I'll just wake up and I'll feel flat. I'll feel down. I'm just like, there's nothing you can do to get yourself out of that. And if you can't figure that out, then your partner's not going to be able to figure that out either.
Boom.
There you go.
Boom.
Words of wisdom.
Hit the nail right on the head. But no, I get it. I mean, I text you at least like once a week, once every other week, and I'm like, hey, weird mental day today. I'll get through it, but like, just so you know. But I mean, that again goes into open communication, and I feel like I do that with, I do that with all of my other clients as well. And even just having you as not only a co-host, but also a friend, and being able to go to you and be like, hey, I'm having a shitty mental day. Don't worry about it. I'll get it together, but just want you to be aware if I'm acting off, that's why. Yeah.
That's the interesting thing, though, is like, we've known each other long enough where I can actually tell when you're having a weird mental day just by your text messages. Most times when I get your text messages, they either make no sense, you're talking gibberish, like you're making me laugh, and the days where you're having off days where like you're just like short and to the point, and I'm like, oh, okay, she's being serious now. Like she's not having a good day.
Hannah has her serious face on.
So, on that note, do you have any words of wisdom to end the segment on?
You can't fix something that's been broken, but you can help mend it. Does that make sense? It made sense in my mind. You know what I mean? Your camera's shaking from you laughing so hard, so clearly I did something right.
Laughing. Oh, and the pain is actually immeasurable because I did abs this morning and my fucking stomach hurts.
Oh no!
No, that's good. We can do that. I'm trying to think what I want to end on. Oh my fucking god.
You ever seen the Thornberrys?
No. I know what you're talking about, though.
Never seen.
All right, maybe I forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, as I was saying before, like, oh my god, I need to stop.
I'm sorry. I need like a warning.
Gay face.
Okay.
Fuck. No, shut up.
I'm ready.
So, I mean, on that note, like I was saying before, if you are that partner in a relationship that's trying to support somebody with depression and anxiety, like, you need to be aware that you can't just take away whatever it is that they're going through. Like, you can be there, you got to be the supportive person, you got to communicate, be their rock when they are down, but don't come at them like, go to therapy, go talk to somebody, go on antidepressants.
Open communication.
It's a two-way street. And that goes to the people that are have depression and relationships. Like, don't expect your partner to be a mind reader. You know, like if you're having a down day, your partner's going to think it could be something to do with them. And then you're going to go into the cycle of negative energy between the two, and it's going to cause friction and whatever. It's like, that's not cool. So if you're having a down day, like, just say, hey, I'm feeling like shit today. Like, just give me some space. It's nothing to do with you. Just, I need to work on my shit. I need to be alone. I need to, whatever the fuck you need to do.